Hello, everyone. We are live. Hello, this is Art T. Bear, Hack Shack Studios, and I'm going to be chatting with you guys for the next hour or so and doing some work. So I thought I would do some double duty here and hang out, have some fun with you guys, and ink up a Carlo Barbieri variant cover for Chrono Mechanics. So I've been teasing this thing for a while. I'm actually going to do some work on it. I wanted to do that, I believe it was yesterday, but I could not get my camera to work right. And, hold on for a second. I have the window open. I have some allergies, so I get a little congested sometimes. So I apologize. Hey, Aaron, how are you? How are you, my brother? And we have Andrew. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much for, I think it was on Mike's stream the other day, posting all the chrono links. So I mucho appreciado that. So thank you. So yeah, we have a party now. We have a party of 3. So very cool. I have some other things I want to talk to you. Hey, oh my gosh. I think I saw Nighthawk. Was it on Ethan's stream last night? I'm starting to recognize your names. So that's very cool. So yeah, I went on Ethan's. Now I'm talking about Ethan's show. Man, I had a blast. I haven't done that in a while. And is it Micah? He's pretty cool. And then Antonio Bryce showed up late. I wish I could have stayed on longer with Antonio, but man, I was tired. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. That's Cal time. Those guys were on East Coast time. So what is that? Like 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning for them. So that is crazy. That is crazy, but I had a lot of fun. But if you guys, because I think we can communicate with each other via private message while we're talking. And I think somebody, and maybe even somebody in the chat was like, Art, put the camera on yourself. 1, I couldn't because I didn't have the camera working properly. But 2, you guys would not have wanted to see me. When I got up to brush my teeth before bed, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my gosh, I look horrible. My eyes were like barely open. You know, when you're tired, you get those big bags and everything. And my hair was standing straight up like Don King. That's an old reference, but look up Don King. My hair was standing straight up like some kind of punk rocker. We have Sierra Whiskey, one of my favorite people. Hey, how are you? He was asleep. Well, maybe was it you in Mike's chat then? Yeah. Wait, what is this? But I do pop in his live streams when I can. I thought I saw your name somewhere yesterday, so if I was mistaken, then I apologize. But yeah, I am starting to figure out your names and all that, so that's cool. It's like hanging out with good friends. This is our cheers. So this is our bar. So I'm just going to yell, Norm, when you guys come in the door. And then we'll hear that melancholy song. Do, 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 do. Come to Hack Shack where everyone knows your name. Do, 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 do. Okay, so wait, what is this? XYZ. I hope this is good because I didn't read it first. Do you have any crucial advice for figure drawing? Big fan of your work. Oh my gosh, we're getting into an advice right off the bat. Draw. Always draw. Be a mad doodler and try to find as much enjoyment in it as possible because you are going to spend the rest of your life doing it. So if you do not love it and you cannot find pleasure in it, then don't even get involved. And as far as educating, Andrew Loomis' book is probably the overall best. George Bridgman anatomy book is. I talked to Larry Stroman about some of these anatomy books, and he doesn't really subscribe to the George Bridgman book. I like it, but I like all these books for different reasons. I think Andrew Loomis is good all the way around, but we were talking about a guy named Jack Ham, and he has. This is ancient, but the guy is a master, and there's some great pen and ink work in his book, but he's got one on figure drawing as well. And my dad was a little bit of an artist, and he had that book. So when I was a kid, I grew up on that book. So if you can find the Jack Ham figure drawing, I think he has one on cartooning and one on animals as well, and they're all really, really good. So I don't just kind of get all my information from one anatomy book. I go all over the place. Although, what is the one that everybody says, like all comic book people need to see? Is it the Bern Hogarth book? And when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, because I got sucked into the Bern Hogarth and the whole, he did the Tarzan comic strips and all that stuff. And he is very, very accomplished. So I don't want to take anything away from him, but his drawing is a little awkward and weird. And I want to say he just exaggerates them for the anatomy book, but he does not. If you look at his drawing, it's similar. So there's some kind of awkward and some weird rhythm that's going on with the way he poses figures, but it is very, very dynamic. So I'm going to say the one good thing I took out of Bridgman is memorize shapes. So he kind of breaks down things like, this muscle group is kind of like this shape. This muscle group is like that shape. So if you can, most of us are familiar with like butterfly shapes and all these pear shapes and all these different shapes. So if you can think about these muscle groups in that, then it helps you memorize and recall those ideas. So that's the best I can do from Bern Hogarth. I hope that helped XYZ, other than, giving you a full-on anatomy course. That's about the best I can do. So what is this? Down at the Hack Shack, B52's cover. What's the B52's cover? Oh, the Love Shack, Hack Shack. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah. What is it? Something at the side of the road. It's the Hack Shack. Hack Shack, baby. That's as good as you're going to get. My dad had a brilliant singing voice. So did his sister. All the T-Bears on my dad's side, but I do not. I do not. No, Andrew J. No, not that Jack Ham. You guys are getting me off topic already. I'm easily corrupted. Great advice. Thank you. All right, I got to show you this because if you guys were watching Ethan's show last night, it was epic and it went on for a long time, which was all good. But I had this up all night and I was waiting for somebody in the chat or somebody to say, what is that? Where did you get that? Who drew this? All that other stuff. So you would think it would be like Amanda, my daughter, but no, it was not. So since I didn't get the feedback I wanted last night, give me some feedback. Who do you think drew this? I'll narrow it down. He is a comic book writer, and he was very, very big in X-Men lore in the day, probably 20 years ago, on the X books. And since then, he has written a major film franchise, horror franchise. So that's kind of narrowing it down. And just to help out even more, because I know this is very obscure and I'm asking a lot of you, but he did a convention with me and my daughter last weekend in Long Island. Yes. What? You want to buy this for $30? You don't even know who drew it yet. I'll take it though. I'll take it. No, it's not Claremont, but you are on the right track, Andrew J. So I'm going to give this a little bit more time. And then while you guys are guessing, I am going to... Oh my gosh, Andrew, I hate you. You got it. Oh my God. Oh, because you were there. Oh my gosh, I gave you way too many clues. I forgot you were actually at that show. Yes, it was Scott Blabdell. So I don't know, Andrew, if you were around the table long enough. That dude, I love Scott Blabdell. He's a good friend. But man, that guy was perving on my daughter big time. And he was giving her gifts and all kinds of stuff. And then I think he felt like, ooh, this is getting kind of weird. So then he drew this up and gave it to me, like, try to sell, like, well, if I can win the dad over, so he did the amazing T-Bear, and then it's like the #1 dad. Yeah. So I think that's what this was about. Yeah. And it's free, but you know what? Who was it that confirmed $30? I'll take it. I'll take it, Andrew J. My PayPal is art@hackshackstudios.com. Boom. Send it my way. I'll send it out to you. Yeah, so I just thought it was funny last night. It was up, and I thought for sure that somebody would go, what is that? What is that piece of artwork there? What is that sketch cover? And yeah, Scott Lobdell drew it for me. So that was very cool. And if you don't know, Scott Lobdell wrote and created Happy Death Day, and that first movie is really, really good. So he and I were talking at breakfast about possibly he's got some directors and Hollywood buddies that I'm going to take some meetings with about CHRONO MECHANICS. So I pitched to Scott CHRONO MECHANICS, and he liked the idea. So I may be back into the Hollywood shuffle soon. So that'd be very cool. I also have a few connections of my own, but I just haven't had time to venture into that arena because it takes so long. Oh, yeah, Jim Lee? No. If this was Jim Lee, man, I think it would be, because I don't think Jim does anything like this. This thing would have rendering, and it would be full on, like, amazing. Not that this isn't cool, but it would be like the anatomy would be all perfect and everything. So yeah, Happy Death Day was good. And no, not Morrison. I spoke to him once, and I don't know. Either I'm just not connecting on the same level, or that guy is just in a different dimension. I don't know. I kind of, my first impression was a little bit that he's a snob, but I actually think that he's just working on a completely different level than the rest of us humans. Yeah, Hollywood T-Bear. Oh, okay. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff, but this is, and I've been working with my camera. I hope, because on this camera, this is a beautiful resolution, you guys. It's a little shadowy, but as far as just seeing it, it's pretty perfect. So what I did is I went to Best Buy and I got these little refractor. They're like where you can aim the light away from the board, and then the light refracts back or reflects back onto your surface. So hopefully some of the harsh lighting has been done away with. And well, there's still some shadows, but oh, you know what? I know what to do here. Hold on, you guys. This is what I forgot to do. I have competition. I have my window. I have my blinds open. So if I lower these blinds, I know this makes great entertainment, but I want the best image for you guys before I start. Ooh, there's still a little bit of a shadow, but not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, so this is the great Carlo Barbieri, and he is so generous, man. He did me a variant cover for CHRONO MECHANICS. So it's the only cover that is not done if you go to my Indiegogo CHRONO MECHANICS. And so I'm going to bring this together live. So I think that's part of the fun of these crowdfund and these YouTube platforms, is that we can kind of walk hand in hand and show you the process of how we bring these books to life. So if you guys don't know, I have a crowdfund book right now. It's called CHRONO MECHANICS. It's up on Indiegogo, and last night we did very, very well. So I think we're only $1 away from 8,600. So we're just wrapping up our second week. So this is quite good. I appreciate all the support and pledging. I don't know, they don't call it pledging with Indiegogo, but backers. Yeah, so here we go. Boom. It's in the description. The link's in the description, but it's also now in the chat. So there you go. So what cover is this? Oh, well, good idea. Good question. It is, if you go to the Indiegogo page, which the link is now in the chat, it is a variant cover for my new crowdfund book, which is Chrono Mechanics. So I'll probably be talking about it a lot in this stream. So I hope to educate you a little bit and elucidate you on the details of what Chrono Mechanics is and what I'm doing here. So thank you so much, Nighthawk Warrior. Nighthawk Warrior. Sounds like a, what is it, like 80s cartoon for kids. Nighthawk Warrior. Wait a minute. Okay, there's a new name here. There's a new name. Pre-drag. Pre-drag? Miss Kovic. I like the name. Hello, all. So welcome to Hack Studios. And I think I should, oh, you know what? I'm going to do real quick. I need a little ink set up here. I have some other things that I wanted to share with you. Yeah, I got this through the mail. So this is a little bit of an unboxing. So I already cracked this open. But what's inside of this brilliant Gemini mailer is pages from the great Chung Lee. So, well, not pages, but the book, Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb, right here. So he sent these to me, which was very kind of him. And they're numbered, which is very cool, signed. And yeah, this is amazing. So thank you so much, Chung Lee, for sending these along. And also, I have the trading cards here, too. So I should show you the trading cards. So I got the mini print. I believe this is the mini print and the trading cards here. So, ooh, this is very cool. Signed up. Very nice. And so then we have a sticker. I believe this is like his Hack Shack Studios. And then, ooh, these are in plastic. Ooh la la. Oh my gosh, it's a whole set. Very cool. Punching. Oh, cool. They're like character. So yeah, this is kind of like I'm not sure, but maybe I subconsciously got this idea from him. So Chrono Mechanics comes with cast of characters, trading cards as well. So there's 10 trading cards in all. I think this is Matthew Weldon right here. So this is very cool. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So very cool, man. I got the whole set here. So this is awesome. Got the stats so I can follow along so I know what their powers are. So very cool. Thank you so much, Kyung Lee. So I don't think his campaign is still going, but I know he's going to do some follow-up stuff. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a quick update on Black and White, and then I'm going to start inking. Hey, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I believe that is code for EVS. Yo, hey, RT Bear. Hey, how are you, my brother? Hey, thank you so much. We did really well last night, so thanks for having me on your show. It was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you heard me explain what this cover was, but I did a convention in New York over the weekend or last weekend, and the great Scott Lobdell drew this up and gave it to me. And I think the reason he did it is because he was really perving on my daughter. So I think he wanted to kind of change the focus over like, hey, I'm a good guy. I'm going to draw this up for you, Art. Because, yeah, it was really apparent that he was trying to win my daughter over because he kept giving her presents, and he would come over and talk to her quite a bit. And you know, when people walk over, like if you're sitting right next to the other, you know, like the other table there, that they're not there to hang out with you, but they're trying to make it seem like they are. So, yeah, there was a little bit of that, but it's all good. I like Scott a lot. He's a cool dude. So, yeah, so welcome all. Oh, we have Nin. Wait a minute. We have Ninja Business. We have Nin. How are you? Welcome. Well, you were there, Andrew. You had to have seen some of it because it was so doggone obvious. Yeah, so we got the black and white trading cards. So I thought I would share these with you. And I'm going to show you the ash cans real quick, and then I'll start inking for you. But yeah, we got basically everything's in for black and white, with the exception of the books themselves. And we should be getting those in a week or so. And so I was bagging some of these up this morning. So I just thought I'd show them off. So these are the ash cans. These are the black and white 19-page ash cans. So we have these all printed up as well for you guys. So we have boxes of those downstairs. And these were very limited. Let me see if I can find them. But this is the actual 1994. Let me see the date on it. I think it's 1993. These are the 1993 preview ash cans for, it says 94. Yeah, so it's 94, but this artwork was done in 93. So Dynamic Forces put these together for, I believe it was Great Eastern Comic Con. So Great Eastern was the big New York show before the one that they have now. So this was 1994, and they put these together. So this was a nice preview that we had before the actual Image series came out. So I made these available on the Black and White Indiegogo campaign. So these were very, very limited because I think I only had a couple hundred of them. So I thought I'd show you guys that as well. So like I said, everything is done. We're just waiting on the books themselves. So let me get rid of Scott's brilliant piece of art here and get to another brilliant piece of artwork here, which is Carlo. So this is probably, I'm going to be very rusty here because I haven't inked in a while. Let me see. I got my ink. I got my brush all loaded up here. So let me see. Let me do something that isn't going to be bad if I screw it up. Yeah, you guys, when you start inking at the beginning part of the day, start inking things that don't really matter. Because if you dive right in, sometimes it can be a problem. Yeah. So one of the things about the ink style for Chrono is that it's a little Mobius-esque, and it's a little looser than the style that I usually work in. So it's, and the ink outlines are a lot bolder. So they're more thick and kind of fun, bouncy. So yeah. Wow, something happened to this brush. I don't think I cleaned it out properly. There's a lot of stray, there we go. There's a lot of stray hairs. And I believe since it's been a while, I'm going to have to add some ink to this because it's really thick. And it's a warm day here in Southern California, so thick ink with hot temperatures usually aren't a good mix. So here we go. Oh, yeah, it's much better. Oh, yeah, look at that. We are flowing. We are flowing. So, yeah. So also the line work's going to be pretty thick on this because this is a big image. So when you ink and you put a line weight on things, you have to keep in mind the scale. So if it's a big image, you want to put thicker lines on the image. So one of the characteristics of Caravaggio that was fun is that he has really small hands and he has really small feet. In one of the panels, he's trying to run he's trying to outrun a T-Rex, and he's like, "Bless my meatballs." No, he says, "Curse my tiny legs." I think he says, "Curse my beautiful but tiny legs." He's got a heavy Italian accent. And you guys keep in mind, like, Chrono Mechanics is a really high adventure, comedic story. And I don't want people to get the wrong impression that it's like a kid's book, although kids can read it, but it has adult oriented things in it as well. So it's not just for kids. So there's a lot of adult humor as well. If you think Looney Tunes, I think that's a good example. Tex Avery cartoons, where there's kind of these inside adult humor that's happening at the same time that there's very broad comedic things that are going on. So that's kind of what Chrono Mechanics is. So in a more contemporary way of explaining it, it's kind of like Futurama or Simpsons. So it has some edgy stuff to it, but I do believe most of it would not translate to children. I don't think they'll get it in a way that like Looney Tunes or like a Tex Avery cartoon. Yeah. So probably by the time I get halfway through this thing, I'll be warmed up. Sometimes it can take me hours to find the rhythm. But I think I've been looking at this thing and wanting to do it to find the time to work on this. So I'm pretty psyched to actually be able to do it today. Yeah, it's really strange the way, running these campaigns are, because, you're an artist, but at the same time, you kind of got to be a salesperson, and then you have to be administrative, to make sure that everybody is busy working and has something to do. And there's a lot of different hats that we wear. So some days you don't get to spend as much time as you would like drawing. And but that's part of the deal here. And I don't really mind it. It's just different than I'm used to. So it's just kind of like restructuring, the brain to do, to think in a different way and to structure your day differently. And after 35 years, you kind of have, a way of doing things. So you get set in your ways. So this has been actually a pretty fun adventure, because I've been doing this for 35 years, and I've been drawing professionally for longer than that. That's just my comic book career, but I worked in illustration for about, I think, 3-4 years. And so this is a nice little kind of change of pace for me. It's like exercising different muscles and doing something different, which is the great part of Comicsgate, and that's why I'm so glad to be here, because it's a viable platform financially as well. So I can actually devote time to these personal projects in a way that didn't make any financial sense before. So I'm really, really thankful for you guys, and thankful for this experience to be able to do this. Not that I absolutely hated, working at Marvel and DC, because I didn't, but you get kind of on that treadmill, and sometimes it's hard to get off. And I'm glad that this new avenue opened up, because I'm having the time of my life. I think Ethan was talking last night about how much more rewarding doing your own characters and doing this stuff is versus working at Marvel and DC. And he's so right. Working on your own characters and not doing work for hire and feeling like you're just a cog in a huge machine is a good change of pace for me. So let me go to the chat and get a gulp of water here. So, oh, hey, thank you so much. Wait, let me go back here. I just saw this big old super chat there. Okay, so we have pre-drag. That's awesome. Yeah, Carlo Barbieri did a great job with these pencils. Caesar, is it PG or PG-13? I'd say it's more like PG. Yeah, I don't know. Are the Marvel movies PG-13? Yeah, it's weird because I don't really pay attention to that stuff as much anymore because my daughter's all grown up. So when your kids are younger, you definitely keep an eye out for those things. So we have Kevin in here, world's greatest eager of all time. Yeah, I like the way you think. So this is super cool. Thank you so much, Sticky Wicked 447. $10 super chat. Currently shopping for a newer any suggestions? Yeah, if you go and watch one of my previous videos, you can see this really cool, it's like a Harley Quinn Joker. Like it's a pretty twisted image where Harley's got a heart, you do that with your hand, and then the Joker's aiming his big pistol at her. It's a very cool image, and you can pick that up on Etsy. It's a cool shower curtain. Yeah, so I hope that helps, Sticky. Go buy it now. Oh, wait. Okay, so Nighthawk Warrior has a book called Savage Hawk. Very cool, man. Yeah, have fun. Have fun. That's the name of the game. The name of the game. All right. Okay. Logan was rated R. Yeah. Deadpool was rated R. Marvel movies are PG-13. So yeah, so maybe it's more of a PG-13. Let me see. It seems like there's some shadows coming over. Is that too much light? I'll try this for a while. This new lighting system is going to help too, because at night, because of the way the camera was working, I wasn't able to use my drawing board lights as much. So it was hard. It looked good on the camera, but it was hard for me to see. So this is ongoing, my ongoing predicament. So here's his cursed, beautiful but tiny legs. Yeah, I haven't inked Carlo since Super Sons, and I believe Carlo is coming out with a creator-owned book soon as well. So I've been kind of working behind the scenes a little bit with Aaron Lepresti before he pulled the trigger on his Indiegogo, and I'm working a little bit with Carlo. So at least if there's anything I can do to help him, I will definitely do that, because this pinup is gorgeous. Well, it's not a pinup, it's a cover. It's the variant cover. So I hope you can see this thing coming together. I'm trying to get most of the structure in so you can see the image more clearly. So I think I'm starting to feel it now. Sometimes you're also a little intimidated by the pencils, like if you're inking somebody new. So it takes a while to kind of get past it. Because for me, when I first start inking somebody new, or even if it's at the beginning of the day, I become very like almost too respectful to the actual line that they put down. And so it makes me a little uptight. Not that I ignore what's put down, but once I get past that, like, oh, I want to be respectful kind of phase, then I can kind of start loosening up and bringing some energy to it. So hopefully you can do that quickly enough. I don't know if anybody out there has that problem, but I kind of do, even when I'm inking myself. And I think it's just part of, trying to get warmed up. So I'm trying to bring, what I want to do is I want to ink Carlo in a little bit more of the chrono style. So I'm veering a little bit from some of the line work that he did. And so I'm trying to make it a little bit more chrono style. So if you see me kind of straying from some of the lines, it's not that I'm being disrespectful. That's kind of what we said, because I actually didn't, he first sent this to me as like a breakdown, and I said that it's fine, like the breakdown's fine, because I'm gonna kind of chrono it up style wise. And then he was like, over time, he was just like, no, let me tighten it up. And so finally I was like, well, you can do whatever you want to do. I'll ink it, and I appreciate anything that you come up with, but just know it's not necessary. And so the sweetheart that he is, he went back in and tightened all this stuff up for me and gave me all these extra fold lines and more to work from. And I greatly appreciate it, because I think it's going to make it a better piece. But I just didn't want him to commit any more time on it, because, I know that guy's busy. He's got a lot of things going. And so I didn't want to put him out. But he was all for it. So that was pretty sweet. I much appreciate it. And I can't wait for whatever his new project's going to be, because I want to be all over that. So I'm trying to funky it up and give a lot of nice, juicy thicks and thins to it, so you can see. Like, so far, my favorite is just this right here, the sweep right here. It's got a nice thick to thin. That's another fun aspect to the brush, because you can kind of just bear down and get that funky fun. And this is actually the perfect size or scale for me to ink. I don't like to ink really tiny, because I can't really be that expressive. But a piece of artwork this size is perfect for my kind of comfort zone. Some people I've seen them, man, they love to draw tiny, and I'm like, I know that's part of the comics thing, that you have to learn how to draw really small. I've never been comfortable with it, and I don't really like it. And even with the inks, I think it's because I want to put too much into it. So, like, if it's too tiny, I can't really be that expressive with it. And one of the things too that the Chrono Mechanic style is, there's kind of, let me see if I can do it here. It's a broken line, but also it's kind of a wavy line, and then a little bloop on the end there. So it's definitely a style, and I'm very proud of this Chrono Mechanic style. I hope that you guys are digging it too, because I do understand that sometimes things that are a little outside of the box are a little harder to sell, because the concept is different and the drawing style is different and all that. But it's so funny, because all I hear is, oh, I don't want the same thing. I don't want the same thing. I'm tired of seeing the same thing. And then, so, as a creative person, you think, oh, people really want something different. And so then you try to rack your brain to come up with something unique or different. And then you do, and then they're like, it's not like whatever. It's not like this style or that style, or why can't you draw it the way you did this other book or something like that? And it's like, I don't know. I thought you guys wanted something different, It's funny, because when I was pitching Chrono, all I got was like, oh, it's really original, it's really unique, it's really, like groundbreaking and different. And then, when things go further or start moving along further, they're like, can you make it more like this or that? Like, one of the things I remember taking a meeting, and they said, well, who's the bad guy? What's the storyline? I go, well, I said, I thought this would be unique in the sense that there is no G versus E. Like, this is not a G versus E story. And they're like, well, how would you do that? And I said, well, it's just action adventure. Like, you can have action adventure without a bad guy. You can have tension. You can have people disagree, things like that. But you don't necessarily have to have like a bad guy. And so then, like, no G versus E. And I'm like, no, it's situational comedy. It's action adventure. There's tension, but there just isn't like a villain per se in the story. And they're like, oh. And then I remember looking at one of the executives that actually got me into the meeting, and I looked over at her, and she was the one that was saying, oh, the reason I really love this is because it isn't a G versus E concept, and that would be refreshing. You know what I mean? So it's so weird. I guess you just can't please all the people all the time. But I definitely did With a lot of the concepts that I come up with, I really do try to think outside the box, but it's almost like the powers that be um, force you to compare it to something else, so people can go, oh, it's this or it's that. And, not that I'm totally opposed to that, but it does get confusing as a creative person because you're like, oh, people want something really different and unique. Here's something different and unique. And then they don't support it, or they're like, oh, could you change it? It's like, yeah, I could, but then it would be this other thing. And it takes away the uniqueness of it. So it's something that as a creative person, I struggle with a lot, because I really did, in maybe a naive way, just think that the key was to create, or to try to create something that was completely unique and couldn't be necessarily compared to anything else. And I have since seen a lot of other concepts and things that are derivative of this one in film and in comics. So I know this concept has impact because I've seen it and I've had people tell me. I went to an executive at Disney, and I guess they were looking at different time travel, like cartoons and stuff for their kids network. And when I went into his office, he had, I think there were 3 different comic books, and he had the comic books pinned up on his wall, like it was like one of those work walls. And Chrono Mechanics was one of them. So, they were definitely looking at this stuff. I love the Mike Mignola story where, with, God, what was it Atlantis, and he was telling me that he went in, they called him in and they kind of wanted to use him on the film, and then he went into kind of the workroom studio, and there were drawings, like Mike Mignola drawings everywhere, and he was like, it was just weird because they were breaking his style down like a mathematical equation and stuff like that. And so they had already been basing the movie in early development, even before he got on the film. They had already been breaking down and analyzing his work and how to interpret it into, moving pictures. It's kind of flattering at the same time. It's a little weird, because he was telling me it was really just a formality. Like, they really just invited him there to do some drawings because they wanted to sign off on using that style. So it would be weird just to kind of, I guess, ape it and not have him really doing anything on it. He's a pretty humble guy. So I like that. It's almost like Mike doesn't know how good he is, or how much impact he's had. Even like, you don't really see it in my work, but if you look at the evolution of my work, there was definitely a time you could see Mike Mignola's work, his style come across in my work. All right, I'm going to come back to the chat so I don't seem too antisocial. But this is coming together. I hope you guys are digging this. Digging it. That's a pretty good image on the camera. All right. So this is actually turning into a great day because I have all you in the chat. I had Ethan. We had a celebrity in here. And I got a killer super chat. So we have a new face. So, hey, Lady Celtic Moon, what is up? We have Mr. Hellstrom. Mr. Hellstrom 74. RT Bear, you have to watch Bruce Kulick's set from. Oh, you know what? I saw that on the internet. I didn't click on it, though. Yeah, I got to check that out from the Kiss Cruise, right? Yeah. You know what? I've been talking behind the scenes a little bit to Kevin. He's my one of my co-hosts on Kiss Corner, and I was looking back at some of those videos. It was a year ago that we started Kiss Corner, and with the shakeup when Taylor left the studio, it was a little difficult for me to try to get things going again, just as far as the technology, because she was kind of the tech person at the studio. But I have been talking to Kevin and Scott, so it would be cool to do some more Kiss Corners because there's a lot of Kiss news coming out. Oh, okay. What project did you hate doing the most in your career? And then Mr. Hellstrom. Yeah, you guys have been paying attention. So it probably would be, at least in recent history. Not that I hate those guys or anything, but it was not pleasant working with Kevin Smith and Walter Flanagan. So, yes. Oh, you guys actually can you hear that ticking in the background? Wow, that's pretty amazing. This microphone picks everything up. Yeah, it's a clock on the other side of the room here. It is a little unnerving, but I'm in here all the time, so I think I've just been desensitized to that ticking sound. It probably helps to add to my tension all the time. So I haven't seen Trev in here, so we have Trev in the chat. So I'm gonna go back, get some more work done here. So yeah, maybe I'll try to keep talking so you guys can't hear the clock. If it's too much, let me know because I can just move it into the next room. Because I have my clock here on the computer I can look at. I don't need that. The ticking time bomb. Art, you only have 10 more minutes. That's all the time I will need. The hardest thing for me, inking with the brush, because I really have to focus and concentrate, are like these type of like more machined lines, like tech lines. So you really have to kind of focus in. So I get a little bit more conservative with the line weights because it can always come back and build up, but I can't. It's real. You can diminish the line, but it's harder, and I never think it looks that good. And also, just personally, as an inker, I have pride. So if there's a lot of whiteout on a page, I feel less like I've done my job right. Because it's kind of like there's a bunch of mistakes there that people can see. So yeah, we got his little feet, big old belt buckles on his shoe, little latch thing to hold his belt. Put some dots, kind of like hatching, but they're kind of done in a Mobius kind of dot pattern. Kind of hatch dots, I guess. I don't know how to describe them. One of my favorite things that Carlo does is all these cool little folds. They're pretty fun. So I want to make sure I keep my style going with the dots and dashes. So now most of the structure's in, so now I can start having fun with some of the details. And with the hair, I can get really organic with the shapes and fun. Oops, I'm not talking. You can hear the clock. Now I'm very aware of the clock. Thank you. It's the countdown to destruction. Oh, I had this like tagline idea for a story, but I don't really have a story. Although I have been coming up with this idea, but I don't know if it's ready yet to express it. But the tagline is something like hell bent, heaven sent. So I kind of have a concept that will back that tagline. I'm very tagline oriented, so almost all the concepts I've done either for animation, like animation pitches or comic books have, taglines. Like Chrono has actually two, so it has they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day, and they have the one that is it's not just their job, it's not just an adventure, it's their job. So it's kind of like a little reverse of the Marines kind of tagline or slogan. And then black and white is like it used to be popular where you go like in a world. So it's the in a world tagline, like, in a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be ... black and white. So I still liked it, so I kept it and brought it into the new version. So, and I think it kind of sets up the tone of the story. I had this concept, or have this concept. It's about like these rock and roll robot chicks, and this is for like young girls. This was a cartoon pitch, and so they were. The show was called Rock and Robots, and so the tag was, what is it? It was something like it's only rock and roll. It's kind of like I think I just aped the Rolling Stones. It was a while ago, so I'm trying to recall it. It's only rock. Oh, it's only rock and roll bots, but I like it. Yeah. So that was that. The cool thing about that is I'll find it at some point. I think I might have played it on one of the live streams earlier, but if there's any metal fans out there, I actually have a theme song, like an animation theme song uh, for that Rock and Roll Bots. And it was written by Brian Hayner, who's a stand-up comedian now. And he works with, I forget what comedian, the guy that uses the puppets. Oh my gosh, what is that guy's name? You guys help me in the chat. He uses puppets, and he's got this grumpy old man puppet, and then he's guitar guy. He's kind of like a sidekick to that comedian, and he writes a lot of his material as well. But he's a stand-up, and he had a rock and roll career in the 70s. He's an older guy like me, and so he's also known as, what is his name? Papa Gates, I think, in Avenged Sevenfold. So there's Sinister Gates, and that's Brian Hayner Jr. That's his son. And so he plays on a lot of those Avenged Sevenfold albums, Brian does, and Brian Sr., I should say. And so they call him Papa Gates. So it was just kind of a family affair. So Brian wrote it and performed most of the instruments, if not all. I think he did all the instruments, but then the guitar solo is done by Sinister Gates from Avenged Sevenfold. So they're good family friends. And so when I was pitching all this stuff, he volunteered, a song. So it was very cool. So when we'd go in to these different pitches, we would have like the little, our little beatbox, and we would play the song for the executives. And it was fun to watch them bop around to it. And then, we'd go into, I would go into my pitch for the show. So it was a lot of fun. And the song is amazing. And his wife, Susie, did the vocals. I'll dig it up at some point and play it for you guys. It's really a cool song. And it's funny how much stuff happens behind the scenes that people will never know about. Like all this creativity that happens that no one will ever see or hear. Hopefully in time I'll be able to do something with it. Because I was talking to Taylor about possibly revamping the idea, but instead of a young girl kind of cartoon show, we would keep the aesthetic and the designs, but it would be more of a girl in trouble kind of storyline. Like it would be a little bit more like Love and Rockets. She loves the Love and Rockets comic. So we were thinking it would be kind of more like that, like just girls kind of getting into trouble, but trying to do the right thing and just trying to, get by in life. And so the main crux of the story idea is that, they're robots, and that music has become very, very techno based. It's been very sterilized. And so the one character who's the singer, her name is Cynthia Mac Applesoft. So her father is kind of like Mac Apple. He's part kind of like an Apple tech guy, but he's also like a music guru. And so she's got a voice that can knock down a house. Like she's this powerhouse, but also her vocal talents are all natural. It's not like synthetic. Even though her name is Cynthia, it's spelled like synthetic. But her voice is all real. So it's kind of like a backlash, like story of technology, like when technology takes the humanity out of things. And the funny thing is they're actually robots, and so she kind of rebels from her father, and then she finds kind of this ragtag um, band of very humble kids that work in a one of their parents' coffee shops, and so the Cynthia sees that these guys are really talented, but they're not playing synthetic music. They're playing real tangible music, like, just like traditional, like rock and roll instruments, guitar, bass, drums, kind of thing. And so they kind of befriend each other, but she's obviously like, she's, daddy's money. She's a little spoiled. These other kids are way more down to earth, but she likes this family, and the family for the most part likes her. So they kind of take her in, and then they just start making music, and it's music that definitely goes against the grain of the norm. So they're a bit of rebels, but at the same time, they're kind of establishing a groundswell of attention. And so this flies definitely in the face of the dad, Mac Applesoft. So there's a little bit of a rivalry, and the dad's a little upset because this is definitely kind of getting into his territory. His music has been, pioneering, and has basically been, the backdrop for, the soundtrack for the entire, existence of these people. And now it's being shaken up by his very own daughter. So that's kind of the crux of the story. Um, it's a little bit more girl oriented, but it's also just kind of an us against them storyline, taking on big business or taking on the status quo thing. And I always thought that rock and roll was best when it was rebellious. So there's the rebellion aspect to it. So I thought it was good for, like, like a young kid show, but it could be kind of cool if it was more like older girl, or just anybody who likes that kind of like rebellious rock and roll kind of storylines, which I'm a sucker for. I love that stuff. So yeah, I have a ton of these different ideas, and like I said, on one of these streams, maybe I'll get all my animation pitches and my different things, and I'll put them out in front of you guys so you can see all this different craziness that I've done. But think about it. Hell bent, heaven sent. It's been kicking around some of these ideas for a while, but I think I need to start thinking about something to follow up black and white with. And it will probably, at this point in time, it seems like that's probably the best candidate. And I want to tell you guys, but at the same time, I don't really have much of it ironed out other than possibly a tagline. I like to write about or to create things that I'm into. So just to give you a little bit of a teaser, what might be in the story is a motorcycle gang, possibly immortality, and immortality, that's where the heaven sent, like hell-bent heaven sent. So I'm thinking they may be kind of some kind of undead, not quite zombies, but maybe, just for the sake of discussion and reference, possibly zombie like. So kind of zombies on motorcycles, and but like immortality. And I'm thinking the immortality will date back, like it won't be different generations. It'll kind of be from one timeline that these people were reincarnated or brought back. And I'm thinking of the Revolutionary War time, because for some reason I've always liked that as a backdrop, like our American history. And you don't get to see much of it. Like Hollywood, for some reason, doesn't really care for like American history, so we don't get to see too much of that dramatized in film. So I know this sounds like it's all over the place. It's like, Art, you're crazy. But trust me, I think once I'm able to communicate and connect the dots with you guys, I think you'll really like it. But I'm avoiding pitching it right now because it could change drastically. Who is coming in this room? I hear somebody. Oh, you guys are awesome. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to screen share. My lovely wife just brought something in, and this could be fun. Let me tape this so you guys can look at it while I'm doing this other thing. So you can say hi, Pamela. You don't have to just
hi, Pamela.
Like lurk in the shadows. Hey, we have Eric Weathers here.
I'm a lurker.
You're a lurker. I'm a lurker. Oh yeah. Hey, thank you, Mr. Hellstrom. It's Jeff Dunham. Yeah, I was talking a little bit about Brian Hayner.
Oh yeah.
And
it's funny.
Yeah. He's got a new video, right? What is the video? We can tell him to look it up because you just listened to it the other night.
I did, and now I can't remember what I did 10 minutes ago.
I just put you on the spot.
Yes, you did.
Some might say threw you under the bus. Ha ha. So yeah. Oh hey, Eric Weathers. He letters everything, and also Eric. I bopped into Nasser's stream early this morning, and there's a cover that I believe you penciled and inked. It's really nice, dude. You are quite an artist as well. I think Eric's probably in the same place that I was and sometimes still am, where he can probably letter a lot faster than he can pencil and ink. So I was always faster at inking than I can pencil. So he probably does a lot of lettering because it pays the bills.
Yeah.
It's reality time. Oh, wait. Oh, look who we have in. Speaking of the devil, Carlo Barberi.
Hi, Carlo.
Yeah, he says, hi, Pamela. And I don't know, Carlo, do you recognize the piece of artwork that's on the screen right now? Thank you, my friend. This thing's inking up really good. The pencils were incredible. So thank you. What is this? Oh, I clicked the wrong one. It just shifted. Was it this one? Is this the one you wanted?
No, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, Art, what happened to the heavy metal music tier? Heavy metal music. Oh, shoot. We were talking about something. Can you refresh my memory what the details were? I say so much crap. I don't remember.
Yes, you do.
I don't remember anything. Well, you didn't even remember the Brian Hayner song, so
oh, sugar, what was it?
Don't be laughing too loud.
I know, but you do. You do talk.
Oh yeah, okay. So Eric says, yes, the Trixie Kane cover. Yes, it was, and pays the bills. You nailed it. Yep, I know the drill. So Carlos says, hello. Hot damn Higgs. What is that?
And his purloined shower curtain.
Oh, okay. That's you guys are still on that. Yeah, I got ripped off, man. Yeah, so I didn't know that's what that guy's name was. So let's call him out, man. You know what was so funny is Antonio Bryce was tweeting me privately, and saying, Art, you really should file charges. If you go to Etsy, you can do whatever. Like, he's telling me how to basically bring these guys down. And I'm like, I just did it as a show. I don't really want to bring harm on to anybody. And besides, I don't even really own the characters. If it was my IP, then, you bet I would go after them in a heartbeat. But since it's not, it's like, it's really DC's problem if they want to go after, for copyright infringement. So let me stay focused, because I was already going off on, or in a different direction. So we do this, and we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. All right, so you should be looking at the Chrono Mechanics Indiegogo page. So, like I said, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. And yes, I think it started, yesterday was Saturday. I think Friday we started kind of heating up here, the campaign. So it got real hot yesterday, and today it looks like it's steaming up again. What do you think, Pamela?
I love the steam.
She loves the steam. Okay, so let's hit refresh. So we're at 8,599. So really, all we need is $1 to turn this over to 6. But let's see what happens. Bum 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 bum. Woo hoo hoo. Yes. So we have 8,663. After 2 weeks, we have 117 backers, and we're 108% funded from Flexible Goal. But let's not let that, let's not get too excited about the Flexible Goal being met, because realistically speaking, we need to get this bad boy to about 50K. So we can pay everybody, and so we can exist like Eric Weathers, so we can actually pay the bills here and keep making wonderful IPs and comic books for you guys. So I'll give you a brief rundown. This is a 48-page graphic novel. We have hopes to get it to 60 pages. It is a sci-fi action-adventure lighthearted story. Think H.G. Wells meets Looney Tunes. So we have Pamela. Pamela, who? Who would that be?
I don't know.
Who would that be? I think
my name is
is
Sarah.
Is Smith and Wesson. Wessonality. That's an oldie. Look that one up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Pamela is obviously my wife, and so she's my co-writer and editor of this book. And then we have the great Narwhal on colors. Jeff Eckelberry. This would not be a Chrono project without Jeff Eckelberry on lettering. No offense, Eric Weathers, but Jeff is the man on this project. And so then we have Render Contender, who is going to help me out on about 20 pages on this book. So, Chrono Mechanics, everybody knows who I am. So Chrono Mechanics is basically time repairmen that are hired by Chrono Incorporated. So just think about this as kind of a mundane, normal repair, company that, like, what is it? Like, I want to...
The Sears man.
Or what?
Except they're always busy.
No, it's the Maytag.
Maytag,
yeah, like that guy. Like, it's a corporation that sends out people to repair things. So, but it's very mundane, although it's very super fantastic at the same time, because just by this image you can tell there's cosmos in the background. So the thing that they fix is an ancient clockwork machine that's basically nuts, bolts, gears, cogs, all those things. And it was built in the very fabric of time and space. So its job is to regulate time in all timelines. So as being a machine, nuts and bolts, it breaks down, as any machine does. So Chrono Inc. hires teams of mechanics to go out and fix different aspects of the machine when they break down. So we focus on Team 9.2 of Sector 7, which is Zinn. He's the guy with the blowtorch on the top with the welding goggles. The guy on the left with the hammer is Caravaggio. The guy with the giant wrench is Oot. And Doug, well, we don't know what he's going to be yet. All we know is that he's a 70s rock god / slacker. And work is a four-letter word for this guy. And he doesn't know the definition of ethics and hard work. So, the fun part will be, how does he fit into this team? And will he fit into this team? Like, did Chrono Incorporated just make a major wrong move by hiring this guy and bringing him in? Or is he the perfect fit? So you'll just have to read the story and find out. So I do like the super fantastic aspects of this. So obviously we kind of have this work bolt or screw that's out in timeless space, but it's out in the cosmos, right? So it's just
in a time-free zone.
Yeah, it's in a time-free zone. So it's basically just a repair shop. This is a garage for the time ships and all the muckety mucks, the paper pushers, the suits. Their offices are there in the center. And so it's just a business, but they do like crazy ass stuff, but nobody thinks about it as like super fantastic. It's just their pain in the ass job.
And Art did all of this because his dad was a worker. He worked on the ships at the naval shipyard. And so Art always respected his dad so much for being the person that kept everything moving and working so that everybody else's lives could be
better. He also
yes.
Like, these were ships that were protecting our freedoms. These were warships. He worked on destroyers, aircraft carriers. Like, these were big, major like vessels. I loved it going down there as a little kid and seeing all these ships and walking the tops of these flat tops, which is what he called them, but they're basically aircraft carriers. And sometimes they had the jets on them still too. So you got to hang out, see the jets and all that. So it was pretty killer. And then, he would come home and he'd be kind of beat up. His knuckles would all be bloody and scabbed and things like that from, basically wrench turning and doing manual labor, thankless work that nobody really knew that he was doing.
And so, America was built on that.
Yeah.
The people that worked their tushies off, and got very little thanks, but it made our country great. And that's actually what, Art was thinking of with Chrono Mechanics, to make them, knuckle busting, coffee drinking Joes.
Yeah, they're just average guys.
But they're not average.
Well, in their timeline, but when they come into Chrono Incorporated, they're just kind of workers.
Right.
But to back up, to make your point, is Team 9.2 are the best of the best. So we focus on Team 9.2 in these stories. So you're right in a way. They are above average as far as the repairmen that work for Chrono Incorporated. So so having said that, it is kind of a celebration and an honor to all the people out there that, go out in a storm and repair power lines so you can have power, or restore your heat or water to your home so you can have these comforts. And those guys are going out there, sometimes risking their own lives.
Firemen.
Yeah, to make sure that you have those amenities. And that's kind of the idea behind this.
And then we made it fun.
Oh, it's way fun. And I was talking to John Malin the other day, and he's like, maybe start talking about more of the super fantastic aspects. So the super fantastic aspects are like when time doesn't get fixed on time. So when the machine isn't fixed in a proper manner or at the proper time, things can run amok. And so what happens is that timelines can start merging. And so when timelines merge, you could have, give me an analogy, like 1950s meets Primeval or something.
Yeah, you can have Attila the Hun, on the local freeway with you,
Yeah, causing traffic problems,
Right.
So there's all kinds of things. And so one of the aspects is that the mechanics to get to the work site sometimes is a major effort, because when you have these monumental time shifts, iconography doesn't apply anymore. So landscapes shift. People that they may have been talking to can just disappear out of existence. New ones can pop into existence. There's all kinds of things that can happen. One of the things that we were playing with is in some of the writer sessions and things that we were talking about, concepts and stuff we could do for Chrono, is that there's a T-Rex in this story. And I don't want to give away too much, but it's a T-Rex that's kind of Jurassic Park-ish. So this T-Rex has been altered. So it has a consciousness and can actually talk out loud. And so
but she has issues.
Well, with this consciousness and with this self-awareness, she also became very neurotic as a person with a consciousness can. And so panelists show me some good news. So I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just thinking about these ideas. So basically, this T-Rex gives, I don't want to give too much away, but they give Team 9.2 a hard time. And it was a minor infraction that they did against this dinosaur, but this dinosaur is kind of overreacting. So then they have to deal with, this neurotic dinosaur through most of the story. So one of the things we were thinking as a way that we could play up time merging and like the adventure of trying to fight this dino. Do you remember this aspect, Pamela? I don't think it's ever in any draft, in any version of Chrono Mechanics, we ever use this idea. But it's like as they're fighting and trying to survive this T-Rex, the team is just stay alive, that they realize that they're like a construction site, like an old, like 1930s construction site, like wrecking balls, like all these old cat machinery is starting to pop into existence. And so then you realize, because this was, I think, LA based, so you get to see what is the City Hall building, the one that's in like
a ziggurat shape?
Yeah. But like some kind of iconic building, it's the site for that. So it's the construction site for this iconic building. And since time is shifting and it's changing constantly as they're fighting this, or just trying to stay alive basically from this dinosaur, they see a foundation go in, right? And then they see girders pop in. And then you see a sign, future site, for maybe even something like the Empire State, just to give you an example. So then you realize, oh my gosh, this is the foundation for the Empire State Building. And then in the backdrop, as they're trying to survive this dino, you start seeing this building going up. It's being erected. You see like all kinds of girders and stuff actually forming around you. And then, one of them gets the idea that if they could get the dino into this structure, it would almost work as a cage. So this building would be built around the dinosaur and basically enclose the dinosaur in a cage. And so that was the idea. I don't know. I'm patting myself on the back. Boom, boom, boom. You want to pat me on the back a little bit? Pat. She didn't pat me. She just said the sound. She didn't touch me. You didn't want to give it to me.
Boy funk.
You have boy germs. You have girl germs. So I thought it was a pretty clever idea that so it's very construction, it's very Chrono Mechanics themed, with this construction site. But at the same time, it's a clever way to engage this dinosaur. So there's going to be a lot of clever, like fun stuff like that. So it's going to be not just guys going and repairing things, but it's all these things that happen just to get to the work site, all these obstacles. And then even the work site sometimes can, have a set of its own problems, but they're all going to be super fantastic and fun. So did you want me to refresh this page? Is that what you wanted?
No, I was just you know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't want me to?
Wait, I don't care, hon.
I thought I'd get a little excitement from you, but apparently no. Okay, so I'll keep going. So then we have the work in progress sketchbook. So I'm not going to go into too much detail of that, but that's going to be very, very cool. So it'll be working drawings, sketches, and some behind the scenes insights. So then we have the variant cover collection by superstar talent. So we have Cheeks Galloway here. We have Tom Bancroft doing Doug. We have Aaron Lepresti doing Zinn. And then we have, oh, what is this? It may be the piece I'm working on now. So this is the great Carlo Barbieri and Caravaggio. So I'm inking that up on this stream, this live chill stream. So we have a poster package, which is cool. And then we have a lot of nifty stretch goals. Actually, Ethan liked the guitar pick stretch goal. So this is very near and dear to my heart because it's actually kind of a prop from the story. So you'll find out that the lucky pick is pivotal to the success of their the completion of their job. So we have a bunch of tiers. Check those out. And where are we? Okay. So we are at 8663. So I'm gonna update this and then we'll go back to the live chill stream. At this point, I think I'm gonna have to rinse off my brush because it's been a little bit of time. It's probably hard as a rock. Oh, well, do you want to wait for this? Is this going to be a big thing? Is this going to be a good reveal?
No, let's do it and see.
All right.
And I'll rinse your brush so you don't have to get up.
Oh, wow. Thank you guys so much.
You guys are so cool.
Yeah. So that was pretty bad. Shut your mouth. So thank you guys so much. So we're at 9,000. So we're not even 1,000 away from, is that triple digits to $10,000. So thank you guys so much, man. You're turning this into quite a little success story here. So thanks. And I should stop sharing, go back, get back to work so I can get this book into your hands. There we are. Boom. That worked out. That worked out. So that's cool. I love it when a plan comes together. Thank you so much, Pamela.
Yep.
That was very nice.
I'm going down and grab something to eat. I'm hungry.
You know what? I am too. Okay. I'm not gonna be munching in front of it. Or could I? There's some candy over there. I got some Halloween candy. You guys trust me, you don't want me to get ramped up and amped up.
Oh no. All right. I have to tell you guys something. When Art and Candy are in the same room, he has a very low tolerance for sugar.
Yeah, I'm what do they call that? Lightweight.
Yes. Well, one time we had gone to the movies and he bought one of those huge Butterfingers. And he didn't eat it there, but he brought it home. So when he came home, he's laying on the bed eating his Butterfinger, and all of a sudden this sugar it takes over his body. And we used to play, we're kids, he played with squirt guns. I look over and he's writing his name on the ceiling with a squirt gun.
Well, I was laying on the bed and we were watching some movie. And so I'm just like writing words on the ceiling with the super soaker.
I'm like, what are you doing?
and well, to back up, I am a lightweight, but to my defense, this was one of those bags of Butterfingers, you know, those minis. And I think I ate the whole bag, right?
No,
it was a giant.
It was a giant.
Oh, okay. So
better a squirt gun than something else.
I can't shoot it that high. I wish.
I think he was talking about a gun.
Oh.
Oh, maybe not.
Well, it is Dragon, so it could be anything.
I'm gonna go raid the fridge.
Okay, go raise the fridge. I'm gonna break into my Halloween candy. Wait. Go talk to him. I gotta have to clean up the brush.
Okay, I'm back. I'm talking. Now what do I say?
I don't know. You just needed to stall for time so I can get back.
Switch off.
I need to go get a bag of candy and get that brush into working shape. So we have Lady Celtic Moon. We have Comic Book Bob in the chat. So welcome. Durakin is not going to clarify his squirt gun line, so maybe that's a good thing. So okay, my brush is in shape. I'm going to get a piece of candy. Ooh, yeah, baby. Look at this. This is my fun size Snicker right here. It's my Sniggabar. Oh, we have Spectrum Ball. I think that's a new name. So welcome to the chat here. Give us another embarrassing story. Well, my wife is gone right now from the studio, so we'll have to wait for her to come back. Unless you want an embarrassing story that I can embarrass her with, because I could do that. The thing is, this is not a two-way. Like, she can do it to me, but I can't do it back to her. I'll be in trouble. I get into all kinds of trouble. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. You know what? Snickers satisfies. That's all I know. What was your favorite Halloween costume of Amanda's? We dressed her up when she was really small as like a pumpkin. So it's one of those little infant outfits. They look like little butterballs. So they have like the little cap on their head. So that's the cutout part of the pumpkin with the stem on it. And they have this big old like padded pumpkin for the body. And their arms and legs pop out of it. It's pretty funny. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still not real familiar, so I'm paying more attention to the chat now. So thank you so much, ma'am. It's good to have you here. I kind of hate you, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I realized I was really close to the mic. You can become heavyweight champ of the Snickers off. I don't know, man. I love Snickers. And for the record, they do satisfy. Okay, I'm going to do this plume. How's our lighting? It's getting a little darker in this room. Okay. You know what? I could possibly open up some of these a little bit. Get some more light in here. Oh, that's good. Cool. Yeah, the light shifts over this time of day. So in the morning, the light comes through the window here. And then the evening, we're kind of in shadow. I'm going to start inking his plume. He's got this giant plume. Carlo did a great job with this. So yeah, I'll probably not be able to finish this up on the live stream here, but I should be able to get the plume inked in. So all the structure will be done before streams end. One might say Caravaggio is all plume. Caravaggio is a little in love with himself, so that's why he's got the mirror in his hand. He's kind of one of those ugly dudes, but doesn't really know he's ugly. It always cracks me up, those European guys that wear the Speedos and they got their big old gut hanging out. So he's kind of one of those guys. He's got a big inflated sense of self. So that black helps push him from the background there. You know what? I think I misread that line. I think these are folds and not the feather, the plume. Even though it looks like it should go this way, but I think it folds back. I think it's like this. So I will have to damage control this a wee bit. So got that. Let me put my little dots and dashes in here. Okay. Little squigglies with some dots. Oh man, there was some tuna in the refrigerator. I bet she's eating the tuna. Doggone it. We also have some fajita leftovers. Oh man, she's gonna beat me to all the good stuff. She's down there having a feast without me. Okay. So we have that pretty much in there. You can see it's actually taking shape now. This is pretty cool. I usually do the faces last. So if you've watched me on these streams, you'll see that I kind of always do the faces last. I'm not sure exactly why I do that. I think it's because I want to get like my confidence level up and get comfortable with the piece before I go right into some of the more intricate aspects, which are the face. You know what I might do? Let's see if this works. Build this out a little bit, and then maybe bring that out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. Boom, baby. Like I said, it's also a little looser of a style than normal Marvel DC stuff that I do is the Chrono style. As one of the things is if I'm just going to draw and create the same way I do it Marvel and DC, then what's the point? So every one of these projects I do for you guys, I want to feel uniquely different and to feel like it's its own thing. Like where it doesn't necessarily seem like it's the same universe or the same, even maybe the same person drew it, because realistically speaking, I don't think you could identify that the same person that drew Chrono is the same person that drew Black and White. I think they're pretty uniquely different. And I used to think of my inking kind of as a curse for a long time, that you work in all these different styles, and part of the way you have longevity as an inker is that you can adapt styles and things like that. And it kept me relevant for 35 years. But I was thinking, as a penciler, you don't really have a signature look or whatever. And it is, I don't know, on some level it's true, although people tell me they can tell, even when I work differently on different styles, that they can still see that it was done by me. But I used to think like, well, if you have one style, then you can kind of, that's your brand and that's how you market yourself. But now in this career arena, I see it as a plus. It's definitely something that I can draw and I can ink and I can create in various different ways. That is unique to the property that I'm working on. Not that I'm planning on deviating, too much, but I do think it's one of, like, why not take advantage of this arena to do that? And as long as you guys like it and support it, then it will encourage me to keep going. I mean, obviously, if there's something that you like more so than something else, then I'll probably adapt to that. But right now, I'm having a lot of fun just trying a lot of different things on, things that the mainstream wouldn't really pay me to do. I mean, they'll pay me, but you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like worthwhile money. It would just be like salary money. One of the things that got frustrating for me is that, every time I would ink somebody new, I would kind of try to bring a unique aspect of what they do out. So I would never try to ink it like anybody else had in the past. I'd always try to do some kind of like a unique take on it. And then I noticed that a lot of the people I was working with would kind of bring that into their style. So they would incorporate any of the ink stuff that I would do. And then what would happen is either because of the powers that be or those guys, they would, we wouldn't work with each other anymore. But the thing is, I would be stuck out in the cold with like, oh, this was my intervention, this invention. This was my, addition to this work, but that you're able to kind of now brand it as your own. So in a way, like the penciler can start penciling that style or that idea that you were bringing in with the ink. They can make that part of their vocabulary and part of their style, and then they can kind of exist without you. It happens quite a bit, and you don't hear people talk about that much because it's kind of an inker woe. It's not really, it doesn't really get out much in mainstream and things like that. So for me, it became a little bit disheartening where you could put your heart and soul into trying to create something new and unique. And then once you're fired or, let go of on that book, then that style goes away from you, but that the penciler still has it. I hope that makes sense, because I don't know how else to clarify it to you guys, because it is kind of a weird idea. But like, let's just say I inked like this, like with these dots and dashes and stuff like that, and I did it for a certain penciler. Not that I can't use it again, but if that penciler starts using those ideas in their future work, they become known for it more than you do. Because then another inker will come in and ink it in that fashion. And unless you're really paying attention as a fan, you'll never know that that's what happened. You'll never know that the inker is the one that brought that idea to the table. And what happened with me is that sometimes the penciler doesn't appreciate it. Sometimes the penciler gets threatened by it. And so as soon as they have basically what they want, which is this new style or whatever it is that you helped create, then they just abandon you and they go on their way. And then the next inker inks it in a similar style. And then it becomes that penciler's ownership. Like he gets ownership of that idea or that style, and not you per se. And I've never been just an inker that covers lines. I have done jobs that way where I'm just, like the Chasing Amy idea where, just a tracer. And sometimes that is the case. But in the early days, I would mostly get these jobs because I had penciler chops, and I could invent and reinvent styles. So I usually, well, not always, but I would get finishing jobs, like even with Jim Lee and Will Spataccio and Dan Jurgens. But I would also get jobs where I would work with lesser talent, because they knew I could invent and that I could bring the work together. But a lot of times you don't get paid for that, and you don't get acknowledgement of that. So it becomes kind of a thankless job. And so for me, I stopped kind of giving it away as freely. And I remember having a conversation with DC Comics for a raise. And one of the main selling points that I had was, they didn't really want to give me more money, or they didn't want to give me the money that I was asking for. And so then I told them, I said, right now, you guys are only seeing a small percentage of what I can do. And they're like, what do you mean? Because, you usually think, oh, well, he's giving it all he can. And, I'm not saying that the work was bad or anything, but I said, there are ideas and there are techniques and things that I have chambered in me that I could bring out and I could give to you, DC Comics or Marvel or whoever. But actually, this was DC. But I don't. And they're like, well, why? I said, because you don't pay me enough money to do that. Why would I give away something innovative when I'm not being compensated for it? It doesn't make any sense. And I used to do it. I used to just do it, and that would be that. But what happens is you kind of get the feeling like that you're being used and kind of abused over time. So I just stopped. I kind of pulled it back and stopped giving, all those ideas and all these kind of like this new vocabulary, or these, ink ideas or textures or techniques. I just stopped. And so DC came back and they gave me, based on that, they gave me everything I wanted, which was very cool. And it made me feel less used and abused. And so I started inking Steven Segovia, and you can start seeing it. You can start seeing there's things like I was bringing in like fingerprint stuff. Like even Danny Mickey started doing it after he looked at it, like fingerprint stuff mixed with grease pencil and a little bit of digital over it. And so I could do mist effects and all kinds of different effects. And so I started experimenting with those ideas and bringing those into the work. And then Stephen was penciling kind of digitally doing a version of that on the pages itself, because he works all digital. And so then I would just, okay, he's indicated it now, so then I'll go into this more practical, tangible version of it. And so we started riffing off each other, and I had a great time. And so, I was, starting to bring some new ideas, to back into the industry, giving this stuff away because I was being compensated for it. And then when I started working with Carlo on Super Sons, it was the same thing. Like I was being paid more, so I decided that I was gonna kind of bring the bloop back. And you can kind of, if you really pay attention, you can see a little bit of an evolution of style there, because I kept kind of pushing it and trying different things every month. And I think towards the end, before I left to do this, which it saddened me, man. I did not want to leave that Super Sons book. I was having the time of my life on it, but it was getting harder and harder to do both of these things, to do black and white at the same time. So yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff in there. I still have a lot of those originals. I think some of them are up on my site, Art by T Bear website, and there's a lot of pages that I haven't gotten around to putting up on the website. So everything in time. So eventually I'll get around to putting more of the stuff up. So I am just a few strokes away from finishing, and then I'll catch up with you guys in the chat, and then I will bid you adieu. Adieu. You can see like I'm actually kind of hitting my stride here, so it does take time. I always feel just about the time I cut out, I've just warmed up. It does take a little bit of time to warm up. So you guys can see how versatile a tool the brush can be. There's really no reason to switch out the tool, because you can get like ultra thin lines, and then you can get really thick lines with the same tool. It's pretty remarkable. And I think there's a lot of people that are intimidated by the tool, because you can do hairline, thin lines, and then you can just, look at that. And there's not many tools that you can go from something that thin to that thick. And then you can do every line weight in between. Okay, I'm just going to do some random face pieces so you guys can see it at least structurally together. And I'm definitely inking this differently than Super Suns. So this is a fairly original take on Carlo and Mai's styles. But Carlo's brilliant. He is brilliant. I think he is big time underrated in this industry. And I think because he's also, like I used to be with YouTube and all this crowdfund stuff. I'm a little bit more vocal and verbal, but I used to be a real head down guy, and you just keep your head down, focus on your drawing board, and then everything will be fine. But I want a lot more out of life and my career right now. So I have to be more outward. I have to talk more. I have to, do this type of stuff, which I was a little nervous about at the beginning. But at this point, I'm actually enjoying the hell out of hanging out with you guys and talking. I'm getting used to it. It's really weirdly artificial. You're just kind of looking down at your drawing board and inking and talking. It's kind of weird. But now it's fun. So the brush is behaving itself. So I'm going to go in and ride this crazy train. Get all those little fold details in. It's like I said, the brush is behaving itself. So I think that's everything. There's some face details left, the mirror, and then the background cogs. I still have some detail on the shoes here. So got that shoe in. Let's get this shoe. It's got a lot of cool like folds and creases here. On the shoe. So you can see how like crazy versatile the brush is. Okay. Got a little extra ink here. And Dazi Ming. I'm actually losing my light too. I think it still looks good though. Let me open this shade up and maybe it'll help out with the lighting. Help you guys see the finished well, it's not finished, but it's finished for this. Oh, look. Oh my gosh, why didn't I do that earlier? So yeah, so here's Caravaggio, pencils by the great Carlo Barbieri. So you can see the expressive lines, the thicks and thins, the movement, the chrono dots and dash style of Caravaggio, one of the major players of chrono mechanics. So he's kind of the brains of the operation. So Uda's the brawn, he's the brute, he's the strong man, and then Zin is kind of the man of peace. He's kind of the guy that can negotiate and calm situations down. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the drawing by Carlo and the inks by me. So let me go to the chat, get my glasses, and catch up with you guys. All right. Sugar Buzz. Kick it. Actually, the buzz was just enough, man, because I think I was getting a little low in energy. So I do think the snack size Snicker bar was just what I needed. Just the kick I needed. Oh, God, Nin. Art, you're going to eat. You have to do it on camera and rename your stream, eating all the leftover Halloween candies. You know what? I would show you the big bag of candy that I have here, but it's in one of those cellophane bags, and I hate it when I hear that sound, that crumbling up of like that plastic. So I'm going to spare you guys that. But it's a pretty good sized bag. When we have a little bit of leftover candy from the trick-or-treaters, and my daughter is awesome. She still goes out to areas and she trick-or-treats with her boyfriend. So she brings me back some good stuff. Oh man, Skittles. Skittles are awesome. Of energy crash in rapid successions. You know what? Isn't it kind of cool? Like you can actually physically bring your body up to like, yeah, and then you can just like, oh, you just drop down dead. Ate some shrooms at a Dio concert once tripped me out. I'll tell you guys, I I ate some shrooms at the San Diego Comic Convention, and it was the first time I ever met Paul Levitz. Yeah, it was not good. We were in the lobby of some hotel, and there was a bunch of crystal chandeliers, like massive chandeliers, and those things were dancing and doing all kinds of stuff. So I must have been just out of my mind. So yeah, Dio would be awesome, especially Dio in the day when he had, didn't he have a dragon that he'd fight on stage and everything? Because I think, was it 79 or 80 or whenever that guy was at the height, I saw him at the Long Beach Arena or something, and he fought this giant like dragon. It was pretty cool. Oh, Ingve. Ingve. So speaking of concerts, apparently my friend's band is going to be doing a show with Ingve. That dude is a master. He is a master of the sixth string. Okay, so we're kind of commenting on some of the ink work. Segovia is a great artist, man, and he's a great friend, man. Yeah, he calls me boss, and I call him boss, so we're the bosses of each other. So we still stay in contact quite a bit, and at San Diego we hung out as well this past summer. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, Slick Rick. You guys are the best. What does the feather do? It's just decoration, man. It's just a plume. So he's a Renaissance guy. It's a little abnormal in size, but yeah, it's just decorative. Caravaggio is a bit of a dandy, if you get my drift. He's a bit of a dandy. Okay, here we go. I'll leave it on this unless you guys start telling jokes, and I'll never get out of here like last stream. Looks great, Art. Thank you so much, Trev. I appreciate it. So I hope you guys had a ball. I know I did. We got a lot of work done, which is a plus. And we kicked butt, man. We got some major backer action going, and I am very thankful for that. And let's keep going strong. So if you guys, before you leave, could you give me a thumbs up? Tweet this out to your buddies, and also let them know that Chrono Mechanics is going on right now. It's going long. It's going strong. It is perhaps the greatest comic of all time. Get it? All time. And it's done by moi. So please, if you haven't backed it, go do so. And I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. So take care. Enjoy your Sunday.